Hey guys, here are 3 autism diagnosis pathways that you can take that you definitely need to check out, because if you're like me and you were going through a diagnosis process and you didn't know where to start, this is for you. All right, guys, all that's coming up. Hey, welcome back to the Aspie World. Now, my name is Dan. I have autism and ADHD, and I make weekly videos all about this stuff. So if you're new around here and you want to learn more, remember to hit the subscribe button before you leave by hitting that notification bell so you get alerted every time I upload a new video. Guys, what's going on? I wanted to do this video for such a long time, and I was kind of thinking about the best time to place it. Now, there's many people looking for an autism diagnosis these days, and there's been a sudden increase. Now, I've done a video all about the increase in autism diagnoses and why that is and how it's apparent. Now, I wanted to go over 3 of the main ways that a person on the autism spectrum could get an autism diagnosis. And there are 3 ways. There's actually probably more than 3 ways, but these are like the 3 main ways in which you would seek an autism diagnosis. Well, the first thing I want to say is that this is one of the paths that I took. When I had an autism diagnosis, I was diagnosed when I was 26 years old, and it took me that long because where I live in Wales, in the United Kingdom, growing up, there was no autism specialist around. There was nobody that was kind of accommodating for that type of field of research, and they couldn't diagnose me because they gave me all kinds of like bizarre diagnoses that weren't really, I don't know, not accustomed, but they weren't really me, you know, and that was a little bit annoying, but hey ho, we all live and we all learn, and that's how it was. So I wanted to do this video just for you guys. Now, if you're interested in autism technology and applications and stuff like that, I found an app that is awesome for creating friendships and romantic relationships with autism spectrum disorder people and in the community. It's a safe app, so don't worry, there's no creepy weirdos on it, and it's called Collage. Now, this thing is launching very, very soon, and they're wanting people to sign up to the waiting list, so I definitely highly recommend checking out Collage app, because I found it really interesting and it's intriguing to me because there are very few safe autism dating apps. If there's only like 1 or 2 in the world, but this one is head and shoulders above those, and the things that were coming are pretty remarkable. So make sure you check out the link in the description down below of this video to check out Collage app and get on the waiting list. Okay, so here are the 3 pathways for autism diagnosis. So number 1 is to seek a referral from your doctor or physician. And what this means is you would go to your, and this is the exact same pathway I took, you go to your doctor or physician, you would phone them and say, hey, I want to come in for an appointment. They say, okay. You go in and you say, look, I have suspected that I'm on the autism spectrum, and these are the reasons why. And you'd kind of state your case a little bit. One of the things that I did is I had my partner write down a list of kind of like odd behaviors or unusual behaviors that I do that she hasn't seen in anybody else that would be related typically to an autism spectrum disorder. And I took that with me and showed them. I also did an AQ test. Now, you can go to the aspieworld.com/autism-test, and you can take the test on my website, or I'll leave a link for the test down below and a card on this video so you can see where the test is. But what I did is I took the results from that test saying that I was probably on the autism spectrum, and I took that with me to the autism diagnosis, referral for an autism diagnosis to my doctor, and asked them to review the information. Now, what the doctor will do is they'll say, yeah, okay, I can understand that there seems to be different behavior, and maybe there's a different, neurological type here going on. And what they should do is they should then refer you to a specialist unit or a specialist kind of team who take care of people on the autism spectrum for a diagnosis. And you should be seen by somebody on the autism spectrum team. And by doing that, you have a pathway. Now, here in the UK on the NHS, which is the National Health Service, it's a bit overrun at the moment, and we're having funding issues due to loads of things like Brexit and the Ukraine thing and all kinds of stuff, and COVID didn't help. So there's a 2.5-year waiting list, I think, to see somebody about an autism spectrum diagnosis, which is pretty spectacular. I mean, that waiting list of that magnitude is pretty long. So it's one of the ways. It's completely free for here, and you're part of the NHS and you pay your national insurance, so it's free at the point you don't charge any extra. Now, typically what happens is they will take you to having 2 or 3 assessments, and there'll be some tests, there'll be some kind of interview, personal interviews, and they may interview some family members and people who live with you. And that's typically how it goes. And again, that will probably be the longest path. Now, the second way you can do it, which I know a lot of people do it, and people in my family have done it, is you can seek a private diagnosis by researching private autism clinics within your local area or your larger local area, and then phoning them up and seeing if you could kind of, price up a potential assessment and have them assess you or your child or whoever it's for, and then use them. And the process is very similar, but you skip out the referral from the doctor, you're referring yourself there. Now, something to bear in mind when you are paying a private clinic, the prices will be quite high. They're going to be in the thousands. But in terms of accessibility, they're going to be a lot easier. You're going to wait maybe like 4 or 5 months, maybe maximum 8 months, rather than a year and a half to 2 years. If they are interested in the evidence that you support them, I think you have to send them supporting documentation from other health boards or social kind of groups, like say you're in school or you have social care or anything like that, and then you send them the reports along with it to justify the means of the assessment. So they're not going to try and assess somebody who doesn't really need to be assessed. Something to bear in mind, and this goes for anyone who's having an autism diagnosis and an ADHD diagnosis privately outside of their national health care team or outside of their health insurance team, that if you get a diagnosis privately, then what will happen is any of the medication that you need to, buy or take or receive, it will be self-funded, because they will not, because you didn't go through their system. They won't give you the medicine or medication through their system. You'd have to go through a private system and pay for it privately, which can be quite expensive. I mean, it can be up to hundreds of pounds and hundreds of dollars a month. So just be mindful of this and bear that in mind. If you're going for an autism diagnosis or an ADHD diagnosis and they do recommend medication of any sort, that's going to be an expense that you'll have to fulfill if it's outside of your insurance or your national health insurance if you're here in the UK. So the third option, and this is somewhat debatable, and I think this is a valid option. I think that it's really, really good, and it's something that I'm working on with my team to provide as well, which is, going online and having a video conference call with a clinic somewhere else in the world. Now, the standard kind of assessments, the DISCO report and the ADOS report and the DSM-5, all of these, and I think there's another one called the CDI or CID, which is like another assessment process. I'm not entirely sure the exact protocol, but they're all industry standard and they're all professional and they're all kind of like internationally recognized, right? These are the standards for diagnosing autism. Now, all of those can be practiced anywhere in the world as long as you've done your qualifications and you've passed those qualifications and you're a qualified doctor or physician or a therapist or whatever in that field. Now, you can go online and find many different clinics that may charge a little bit less than, an in-person one here in the UK or in the US. So, because they may be in another country where you can, the exchange rate is better. They will do the whole thing over a Zoom conference call, and the same thing, you send them supporting documents. They may want to interview family members. They want to interview you. They'll do all this kind of assessment stuff, and then they'll produce a document. I think this is a really efficient way to get autistic people diagnosed, but the same rules apply if you're going private to this. If there's medication that's needed that they recommend, it's not recognised by the National Health Service of the country you're in or your private healthcare. You may have a battle trying to do that to prove that they have to pay for the medication rather than you. But it's definitely a more peace of mind one. So say you're an autistic adult or an undiagnosed autistic adult and you want to kind of have some closure on your life, then this is a good option because you could apply, do the process, have this autism diagnosis done, and you'll have a peace of mind. You'll know who you are. The actual company may give you some strategies and some takeaways that you can practice at home without having to spend money on lots of therapy and stuff like that or medication if you're doing this privately. So it is an option. And I think all of these valid ways to diagnose someone on the autism spectrum, but you had to find the one that suits you. Now, I want to know, are you watching this video because you're looking for you for a diagnosis or looking for your child? Pop in a comment down below because I read every single one, and I would love to have that discussion with you. Please share this video and give it a thumbs up if you think this is a valuable video. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.